Welcome to part 3, the final stage of what we're going to talk about, hopefully talk about the future and what the club... just a brief note on some of the fringe players that could be classed as fringe, players that hadn't played. We're talking about players like Ainsworth, Stephen Moore, Simon Walton, Tomoska, Raymond, Nygaard. I mean, do you see these players as...
Raymond?
Raymond, I should say. Zesh Raymond. I mean, are they squad players, or do you think that a time will come when, not necessarily these players, but obviously fringe players will look to move on?
It makes you wonder if it's also down to contracts as well, what some of them are on as well, isn't it really? I think regarding some of the fringe players, it was interesting about Ainsworth actually that he wasn't even in the squad, was he?
No.
On Saturday,
Yeah.
which I found quite surprising.
Nor was Boulder, but
No.
there was
a whole midfield quartet that actually, maybe a few months ago, you said, what a great midfield. Marr, Ainsworth, Walton and Boulder.
Yeah.
None of them in the squad. You thought that would have been a great midfield. And all of a sudden, neither of them fall. And that's something you realise how far we've come all of a sudden.
Yeah, and you would hope they'd be patient enough to maybe... But it seems like we don't get injuries now either. Whereas before, you know, when you're near the bottom and you're struggling, you get injuries. But now everyone wants to play. So I mean, there's a big squad there. I mean, there's near sort of 39 players. It's got to be trimmed in the summer. I mean, what are your expectations, first of all, Richard, on what will happen this summer?
I think between now and June, I think there'll probably be at least, including the loan players, whether or not Mancian and Kieran Lee are bought permanently next season, I don't know. But at the moment, we've got to presume they're not. So I reckon there could be maybe as much as 10 to 12 players going. And I think then they'll be replaced with possibly 6 or 7 signings, of real quality signings, to take us that little stage further than maybe we are at the moment. To put basically a squad we put together by this time next year, which will be totally unrecognisable to what we were used to August this year, in 2007. It will probably be a team to, without doubt, challenge for promotion. So I think at the end of the day, that's what the investors want. That's what they're going to do. That's exactly what they're going to be after.
And you expect June, July to be quite active in the transfer market?
I would expect it to be quite active, yes, actually, Pete, because, like Richard just said, you know, I've got a feeling that really we're going to be looking at something like a main squad of 25, something like that I would expect.
And is there anyone here got any aspirations at all, like me, that think we can get to a playoff spot this season? Do you want a playoff spot this season? What's the point?
I want a playoff spot. Yeah. I don't think that, you know, there'd be any negative at all about getting to a playoff spot, personally.
And what about yourself?
I've had a look at the remaining fixtures. I think we're going to finish on 59 points. I've said it now.
Yeah.
See if I'm right or wrong. 59 points, but which I think will just be not quite good enough. But we'll give it a good go. But I think that's what we'll be realistically finish on.
Do you think that the owners of the club have any aspirations to get into playoffs? Just a quick yes or no.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
without doubt.
I think they have.
Without doubt.
Longer term and slightly away from the playing side of things. I mean, where do you think we will be maybe 2 or 3 years' time? And do you, more importantly, think we'll be at Loftus Road? I mean, what do you think as a supporter will happen?
I think there's more. This investment from these guys is just more than the football team. If it was just a football team, I don't think they would have bothered, actually. I think there's a lot more to it. I think, you know, you look at the shopping centre in White City, near White City, being built, probably one of the largest in Europe, going to be, I understand. You think, okay, you got that there, drawing in huge amount of people. Then you have a spanking brand new stadium opposite, possibly a hotel, maybe some a whole host of things happening around there, a load of leisure facilities, all sorts of stuff. And suddenly then you've got a very valuable property area. And I can honestly see something like that, QPR having a new stadium possibly there in the future.
And what do you think? 3 years' time?
3 years' time we'll still be at Loftus Road. They are looking at building on it at the moment, aren't they? From what I've heard.
One part of it.
Yes.
But then there's a rumour that Eccleston's got a share in the BBC site.
Oh, I hadn't heard that one.
There you go. So I mean, would that BBC site, because obviously that's being shut down. I mean, would that be? Do you think supporters would welcome a move?
Would it be big enough?
Well, I would have thought it would be. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but at the end of the day, if you're going to be in the Premiership, you cannot have a stadium of 8,500 capacity, which is roughly what we are. So you're going to have to find somewhere or build on what you've got.
You know what? I think that we've been so used to this tight-knit, you know, let's all galvanise together and sod everyone else type of experience. You know, we've been going through the mire, and we'll never leave Loftus Road. It's our home. But I think now people are starting to see a bigger picture. And I think generally over, like I say, I think with Tracy I agree, it's not going to happen in the next 3 years. But certainly a move will happen. I'm sure it will, and the fans will probably greet it with open arms, I think, eventually, as we become more successful.